Hello, everybody. Happy September. I hope everyone's enjoying a lovely long Labor Day weekend. Kind of signifies the end of summer and everyone back to school, which is kind of bittersweet for me. I love the fall, but also not ready to let go of summer. But that being said, it's time for the September budget. So let's just jump right into the spreadsheet. So this is my spreadsheet. I am a spreadsheet nerd and I keep mine in Google Sheets because I like to access it at any time from any device. So this is what my month kind of looks like, more or less. And September will be a little bit different just because my expenses are very different right now. I am currently staying at my aunt's house, so I don't have all of the normal expenses that I usually do. And for anyone that might be new here, there are things that are not in my monthly budget that most people normally have in their monthly budget, and for me that's car insurance and cell phone. I choose to pay those annually, or for my car insurance now I pay it every 6 months, so those are not normal monthly bills for me. That being said, I always start at the top with income. Currently my W-2 income is my largest income, and for September I have a goal of take home $2,880, and that is if I hit all of my work days in the month of September. I have a contract position. I make $300 flat rate per C day, and my goal is 12 C days per month. I don't know if I'm gonna hit that. I have not hit 12 days yet. It's only been 3 months, but I still haven't. Fishing is gonna slow down as the winter comes, so I don't know. It's just a goal. But 12 days at $300 a day is $3,600 minus 20-ish% for taxes would be $2,880 take home. Again, probably not gonna be that much. And then my next income is my rental property income. I should bring home $610.73 roughly in cash flow. So my tenant pays $1,000 a month. The property management team keeps their 9%, so they're $99. And then from that, I pay the monthly mortgage of $290.27, and that has taxes and insurance escrowed in. And then what's left is the $610.73. And I save all of my rental income in the house's own account just because it ends up needing that sometimes for repairs and things like that. My next income is YouTube. In September, it'll be $215-ish. It's paid a month behind, so that's what I made in August. And then support, I have zero expectation, but there are a handful of you amazing people that choose to support me directly through Venmo or PayPal, and it generally ends up being a line item in my income. So $0 expectation, but I put it there to capture those incomes. And then high yield savings account interest, my emergency fund and all my sinking funds are sitting in a SoFi account. The interest did just drop the other day because the market dropped a little bit. It's sitting at 4.5% APY now. And for August, that gave me $121. And so it should be roughly the same for September. So I just put $120 goal. And that'll just be remaining in savings as well. And now for the expenses. Like I said at the beginning, I'm really fortunate right now. My aunt is letting me stay with her. I have just transitioned from Mass to Maine, and the rental market's atrocious. The real estate market's atrocious. So I'm just trying to figure out what I'm doing with my life, basically. But my aunt is very gracious to let me stay here with her. She's not really home a lot, and she's got extra rooms. All her kids are grown and moved out, so I'm very, very grateful to be spending $500 a month on rent, which she's not happy about. She would prefer less, but that's the number I'm comfortable with. So it would be $500 for rent in September. And then my health and dental insurance, those are $42.22 combined. I just signed up for Maine health insurance when I moved here last month, and this is what the amounts are based on my income. So I'm happy about that. That feels really reasonable to me. I have yet to test out the coverage, but that should be sometime here in September. Electricity, gas, heat, internet, I'm not paying for those right now because, again, my aunt's letting me stay with her, but certainly those are normal bills when I live on my own. Are you okay? And then Mohila is my student loan servicer. If you guys have federal student loans right now, maybe you're on an administrative forbearance as well. I think most people are on an administrative forbearance while federal student loan situation is in the courts. I haven't heard any updates yet. I don't know if that's going to be a quick process or not, but for right now, it's a $0 monthly payment. Gym membership, I did get a little bougie and signed up for a YMCA membership. Honestly, it's the only gym that's close, actually. While I am here paying such low living expenses, I let myself have a little bit more of an expensive gym membership. And I gotta say, I am loving adult swim hours in the middle of the day or the adult water aerobics classes. Oh my gosh, I fit right in with the silver hair crowd and I am having the best time. So I'm really enjoying that right now. Money well spent, in my opinion. And then Netflix, that's $22.99 a month. Food and household, I've budgeted $200. Might be a little low, but it's a budget. And gas and car wash, I budgeted $150. It might be more than that just because I do end up driving to Gloucester quite a bit for work. In fact, that is my next trip in 2 days. Hopefully he'll go down to Gloucester again. So I will likely spend more than that on gas, but I also get reimbursed mileage, which ends up being more than I ever spend on gas. So we'll see how that plays out. Pet supplies, I budgeted $65 just because I do finally need to order some kibbles and cat litter. And investing, $20 goal. I've not been saving, donating, or investing lately just because of the life upheaval and not getting enough C days or not getting as many as I was hoping when I took the job and etc., etc. But I definitely want to get back into saving, investing, and donating while I am here and have low monthly expenses. So $20 goal. And donate, I put $0, but I actually do want to try and donate this month. So that probably won't be $0. And then savings. I'm going to challenge myself a little bit and see if I can save $400 this month in my sinking funds. Like I said, just the last couple weeks I've been able to save and I'm happy. So now that my expenses are kind of ironed out and I know what I'm looking at going forward, $400 should be doable. And then spending and other, I put $0 and $0. I don't have any big expenses coming up that I foresee. And spending, I don't know, I usually end up spending a little bit every month, but not too much. Yeah, so all in all, about $1,500 in expenses, and I don't know. Obviously, that's less than my income, but again, I don't think my income's going to be that high this month. What will it be? I don't know. So that'll obviously dictate how much I'm able to save, but we're just going to see what happens. And then, speaking of saving, my next chunk of items are my emergency fund and my sinking funds. So my emergency fund, goal of $36,000. That is like $3,000 a month for a 12-month chunk of time if I ever needed it. And currently it's at $36,021 because the account grew its interest from August yesterday. And so now it's got $21 more in there. And then my annual expenses sinking fund, $2,000 goal. I did have another look at that lately just to see if it was enough because my car insurance moving from Mass to Maine just about doubled just because the coverage here is, the minimum required coverage here is twice the amount of New Hampshire or Massachusetts where I've been living. So it's a little bit more expensive, but $2,000 should still be enough. It's $475 every 6 months, and with it being paid every 6 months, I feel like I can pay it and then top it back off before the next 6 months payment comes. So I still feel great about the $2,000, and currently that account is at $2,002 because it also gained its interest last night. And then my car, vet, and medical sinking fund, $2,000 goal. And I think last Transfer Tuesday got that up to $400. And then the fund has $0 in it. Those accounts were drained over the last few months in the transition from New Hampshire to Mass to Maine. But having these sinking funds saved me from having to dip into my emergency fund at all. I didn't necessarily use them exactly for their intended purposes over the last few months. They were just buffer for whatever was happening, I had to pay to break my lease in Massachusetts and whatever the moving expenses were. Whatever came up and needed to be paid, I just pulled from my sinking funds. And I'm so happy I had that buffer to even protect myself from needing my emergency fund in what kind of felt like one of life's emergency situations for me. I'm single with no kids. I just have cats. So I don't generally need my emergency fund. And through job loss and taking a new job and being much lower pay and uncertain pay, through all of that fluctuation and the moving in between, to not have to dip into my emergency fund was like a huge comfort level for me. So I'm really happy to have these sinking funds. But we're beefing them back up to keep them full for their intended purposes going forward, because hopefully we don't have any more chaotic life situations like that. But, I'm still at my aunt's house. I'm still not necessarily stable on my own at the moment until I figure out where I want to be, where I'm going to be, where I can afford to be. So still so much up in the air, but I'm very much looking forward to getting those sinking funds beefed back up, hopefully, between now and maybe the end of the year. And then debt, student loans, they're there. They're sitting there. Y'all, I've talked about student loans so many times and how I feel about them and how I'm treating them. Not going to go into that again, but they're there. But that's it for the September budget. Definitely want to try and save during this time and take advantage of those $0 expenses while I can, while my aunt's gracious enough to have me here. Work is really the wild card going forward. It's probably always going to be as long as I have this job, just because it's not a Monday to Friday 9 to 5. It's hey, you're working when the fishermen are going, and whatever that ends up looking like, I know it's going to be harder for me during the winter because a lot of the small boats don't even fish in the winter. So getting enough work will be challenging in the months to come, but I'm just going to have to figure it out and find other ways to bring in some income. Just see how this job plays out. I do want it to work. I love the schedule. I love the flexibility. I love all the free time. It's been wildly wonderful and impactful in ways that I didn't really think about. I don't feel great in that I'm not in my own home, in my own, handling myself independently. I don't feel great about that at all. It weighs on me every single day. But I'm trying to choke that thought out of my head and just say, it's okay to just take a breather, take a time out, stay here while you can, stay here while it makes sense, and just take advantage of this breather and figuring out what's next and not worry so much about the housing, because housing is an atrocious thing right now. And if you are not already locked into a mortgage and your housing is stable, if you're like me, dealing with the rental market or the real estate market and figure out which one makes sense for you, because you guys know I've been a renter for the most of the last 20 years, and I don't think that renting is just throwing your money away. It's always been like a potato thing. I don't think one's necessarily more financially favorable than the other. But recently, with rents just skyrocketing, I no longer really feel like renting is the favorable option for me. Especially given how much I was just paying for that shoebox of a studio apartment in Gloucester. That is so similar to what I'm finding as options in my price range. There just isn't. In fact, there was an apartment way out in the middle of nowhere. Granted, it's southwestern Maine, kind of where I want to be, or where I want to think I want to be. So I want to try renting there first to make sure I love the area. It was $975 a month for a 1-bedroom, older apartment. The lady never responded to my first message, but a handful of days later I followed up again, and she was just like, I'm so sorry, I've just been swamped with people asking about this apartment. And it's out in the middle of nowhere, out in the woods, where are all these people? But that's just how it's gonna be. So anything that's even remotely in a price range that I think is reasonable for being a renter, or that makes it cost effective to rent versus own, anything in that affordable price range, everyone's fighting tooth and nail over those things. So it's like, I don't know, man, the housing is just a bitch right now, no matter what way you slice it. That is truly like the big obstacle to try to, not obstacle, but the big thing that I'm trying to figure out. Do I continue to fight over these affordable rentals? Do I fight in the real estate market and buy a shoebox on my budget, but yet, you know, lock in a lower monthly payment? I don't know. There's like no good answers, and I'm not even sure. And like my income right now is also just, it's been so low. I don't think anyone would look at that and be like, yeah, let's give you a mortgage. So I don't know. Housing just sucks no matter what. So if you're dealing with that too, you know, hang in there. I feel you. On a happy note, the weather looks so beautiful over the coming week. And now that Labor Day weekend is upon us, it's pretty much officially the end of tourist season, but I'm still going to take advantage of the very nice weather. And I hope to hit all of the beautiful touristy beaches in southern Maine and share those with you guys. So if you're into that kind of thing, I'm going to be sharing some coastal Maine explorations over the weeks to come. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you all have a lovely weekend, and I will see you again very soon. Bye.